Hey guys, happy October. We are doing my September favorites, and if you are interested in seeing all the makeup products that I have been loving for this past month, then just keep on watching. For the past few monthly favorites, I think I have been recording myself using my favorite products and, kind of putting that footage in while I was talking about the product. And I meant to do that today and thought I did and was just not recording myself. So I apologize, but I'll let you know what is on my face and what I did use for today's look. Most of it is in my favorites. So let's start from the top. I have quite a few foundations to talk about. One is one that I love that I have definitely mentioned in my favorites before, but I haven't used in a while because it's been excruciatingly hot here. And this is the Clé de Peau The Foundation. It's the one that comes in that fancy jar. And this is an incredibly moisturizing foundation. So I just felt like it was going to be a little too moisturizing for those days where it was above like 110, where you're just sweating just being alive. So this has just been kind of neglected sitting there on my vanity. But now that the temperatures are a little bit lower, I know this still sounds really hot for most of you, but it's just been below 100. But it's so much more comfortable here in Vegas. So as soon as that happened, I whipped this baby back out and I have been using this a lot this past month. It's so comfortable. I have it in the shade 020 and I have a review on this and everything. If you're interested in that, you can take a look at my past videos. It's just a wonderful, beautiful, beautiful foundation. And if you have dry skin and if you're looking to implement a little bit of skincare in with your foundation, this is a wonderful one. It has an SPF 21 in there, just so you know. And it's lovely. It's just gorgeous. So this has been resurrected. I've also been loving this Sisley tinted sunscreen. And this is something that I just recently hauled this past month. And as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of the La Mer Reparative Skin Tint, which they discontinued. At least here in the States, I think there's a little bit of confusion on that, but I'm like 99.9% sure that it's been discontinued here at least. So I've been on this hunt to find like a tinted sunscreen, and I had always heard that this one had much more coverage than the La Mer one. So I kind of always steered clear of this one, but this actually can go on very, very thinly. It's not like it has a higher coverage right off the bat. It's just very buildable. So I find this to actually be a wonderful, wonderful tinted sunscreen. It also has the Sisley like botanical extracts in there, so it is also very good for your skin. I have it in the shade Natural, and it's really just, it's like surprisingly beautiful on the skin. It's one of those that you start applying, you're like, okay, whatever. And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, like my skin just looks really flawless. It just looks really plump. Like my skin tone starts to look really even without this looking too heavy. It's pretty magical. Anyway, I've been loving this one. Last but not least, this is fairly new to my collection, but I have used it a couple times in the past and I've always liked it, but I finally picked it up. And this is the Tom Ford Traceless Stick Foundation. So this is what I have on my skin today. I have it in the shade 1.5 Cream. It is a lovely, lovely stick foundation. So I don't have that much experience with stick foundations, but I find this texture to kind of fall between the Westman Atelier and the Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation. So the Hourglass one I find to be very slick. It's very, very emollient and it's beautiful on the skin. It's, it's great because I have dry skin. The Westman Atelier has definitely much more of like a natural skin finish. It's not exceptionally like oily or dewy looking in any way. This one falls like right in between, and it has a really nice coverage, as you can see, without it going overboard. I feel like it has the same sort of similar effect to this, where I feel like it really evens out my skin tone. It really makes me look pretty flawless, but it doesn't look like a full coverage heavy kind of base. So I'm a big fan of this. It's very comfortable. It's very easy to use. I just like swipe a few stripes all over my face. So I've been using the Tom Ford number 2 brush. This is like their cream foundation brush. I'll just blend all the stripes that I painted on my face. I'll just blend it in with this brush. And if there are any places that I want to touch up, I'll just run the brush actually over the stick foundation and then kind of like add a little bit more to places where I need a little bit more coverage. So it's been really wonderful. I took this on my trip that I was on this past weekend, and it's great. I do really, really love stick foundations for travel. I just think they're super convenient. You don't have to worry about them leaking or breaking or doing anything weird. So just for this last week in September, I've been using this nonstop. And then concealers. So I've been pretty much going between two. They're very, very similar. This is the Clé de Peau Radiant Corrector for Eyes. I think I mentioned this in my last month's favorite. I have it in the shade Ivory. This is the one that Clé de Peau just recently came out with, maybe over the past couple of months. It has the brush tip applicator. And let me just show you the shade here. So there's the shade for Ivory. So I won't go too in depth with this because I've done a review and I think I mentioned this in last month's favorites, but it is very, very creamy. It feels great on the skin. It has just a little bit of radiance in there, so it just gives a great kind of like highlighting effect. And then the other one that I've been using is the new Sisley Stylo Lumiere. This is the one that comes with the sponge tip applicator, and you just click to push up the product. I have it in the shade number 2, which I believe is like peach ivory. It actually doesn't say on here, but it is shade number 2. And this one is another one. It is just, it feels so great, but the tone of it is a little bit peachier. And so there's a little bit more of like a corrector effect with this. I find the formula for the Sisley to be a little bit thinner than the Clé de Peau. So for days where I want maybe something just a little bit lighter, you know, maybe I'm not doing like a full face, maybe I just want to do a touch up. I really like the Sisley. I've been reaching for this. Both of them, as you can probably tell, don't have super high coverage, but the Clé de Peau, at least for me, maybe it's because of the color, has a little bit more coverage for me than the Sisley. The Sisley, maybe because it's a little bit more skin tone, maybe I just don't see it as much on my skin. I do find that I can see the Clé de Peau on my eyes a little bit more, but they're both equally as like comfortable. They're both equally as nourishing feeling under the eyes. So I've been reaching for both of these kind of interchangeably. It's like if I'm using the Clé de Peau, the foundation, I'll use the Clé de Peau Radiant Corrector. And if I'm using like the Sisley tinted sunscreen, I'll use this Sisley Stylo Lumiere. And then as for powders, I've been continuously using my Clé de Peau translucent loose powder. Again, this has shown up in my favorites many, many times. And again, I've done a review on this, so you can go ahead and check out my older videos if you're interested in that. But I really love this, and if I'm looking for a loose powder, I've been reaching for this one. But another powder that has been sitting in my collection for a very long time, and for some reason I just decided to whip it out, probably because of this Traceless Stick Foundation, but this is the Tom Ford Translucent Finishing Powder Pressed, and I have it in the shade 02 Ivory Fawn. So this is nothing new to the market. This is nothing new to me. Again, it's been sitting in my collection. I just haven't been using it, but I whipped this out, and this is actually what I have on my face today. I forgot to mention, this is what I have under my eyes today. And then this is what I have over the stick foundation, and the Sisley Stylo Lumiere is this powder. I just love it. I've been using my Surratt face brush, just kind of going in and just lightly kind of sweeping it over my skin. It has been such a wonderful pairing with this stick foundation. It really has left my skin looking airbrushed. It's gorgeous. It's one of those products that I pulled back out and was like, why haven't I been using this? Like, it's so, so good. There's a little bit more to it than, say, the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Powder. That one is very, very light, very almost transparent, translucent, but this is not like a powder foundation. It doesn't have that much coverage. I think maybe it's a little bit similar to like the La Mer, the sheer pressed powder, and that one I love as well, but this one has just been working so nicely for me. Actually, you guys let me know how it looks on screen. I know I have a lot of lights on me or whatever, but I just feel like in this video and the past couple of videos I've posted, I've been using this combination, and I just feel like my skin looks really great and it lasts all day. At the end of the day, I feel like my skin has the same airbrushed, flawless quality to it. So I've really been enjoying this combination. It's really been working well for me. Okay, let's talk cheek products. I have to mention this, even though I know it's sold out everywhere. I apologize, but this is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Cheek to Chic Blusher. It's what I have on my cheeks today, and it just gives a really beautiful sun-kissed, sunburnt kind of like tinge to your cheek. It's really stunning. Let me see if I can get a nice swatch here. So here is Pillow Talk. It has just that little bit of sheen that most of the Charlotte Tilbury blushers have that I just love. I love. It just gives your cheeks, it just brings them to life. I just really love them. And I have been promising you guys, I was actually just reminded when I started talking about this, I had mentioned that I thought maybe it was similar to the NARS Madly, and I just never got a chance to swatch them side by side. So anyway, here's NARS Madly, and NARS Madly is one of my like all-time favorite blushes. So here is NARS Madly. And NARS Madly, I think, has more of a sheen to it, and it's a little bit paler, a little bit more beigey neutral. So here's NARS Madly, and here is Pillow Talk. So actually not too similar at all. I apologize. When I had looked at the Pillow Talk, I thought that it looked kind of similar to the NARS Madly, but I forget how beige the NARS Madly is, which is what I love about it. But the Pillow Talk definitely has a lot more like pinky red in there. I do feel like if you swirled these two together, I'm gonna do that, maybe the center and the outer ring, that you'll get something closer to NARS. So there is the Pillow Talk all swirled together, which is actually pretty close to the NARS Madly now. It just has a lot more of a sheen to it because that center nipple is like a highlighter. And then this palette, oh my goodness. So this came with me on my trip. It's one of those products like, have you ever bought something to wear, like a t-shirt or something, and you start wearing it almost every day and you can't remember what you did before you bought that t-shirt? Like, what did I wear before I bought this thing? That's how I feel about this Hourglass palette. This is the Ambient Edit Unlocked palette. I took this on my trip. I've been pulling it out ever since I purchased this. I've been using the highlight, the bronze, one of the blushes. I'll use both finishing powders all over my face. So I have been using this non-stop since I got it. So today I have the bronzer on. I have the highlighter on my cheeks here. I really took it easy with the highlighter because this is so blingy. You can go overboard with the highlighter very, very quickly, but it is beautiful. It's the same formula as that trio that they came out with, the limited edition trio, which is long gone, that they came out with last holiday. I think they're going to be coming out with single pans of this. I really think they would be idiots if they didn't. But these two blushes are awesome. I love this peachy one. It has like a really high sheen to it. If you use this, you probably don't even need a highlighter. It's so gorgeous. And then this is to me, like a very surprisingly unique shade. It's definitely on the cooler side. It's very pinky, but it's so unique because it falls kind of in between pink and lilac. And I find like a lot of blushes are either one or the other. This has been wonderful. And with all the kind of cool tone shadows that have been coming out, I think it's been a great pairing. It's been really lovely. And these two finishing powders, great. If you love their ambient lighting powders, you're gonna love these. They're gorgeous. I use this kind of all over my face to buff in my makeup, and then I'll use this to buff in makeup that's just in deeper points. So I'll use it to kind of buff in my bronzer blush area. I'll use it around my forehead to kind of emphasize any bronzer that I may have. So I've been utilizing all 6 of the powders in here, and that's probably a first for any of the Hourglass palettes that I have. So I'm loving this. This is like my precious baby. All right, let's move over to eyes. So eyebrows. All right, this is an interesting one. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury Brow Lift eye pencil. It's got the pencil spoolie, and then it has that center like highlighting shade. I actually talked about this in products that did not work out for me because of this center highlighting shade. It is a very warm shade, as you can see. It's even warmer than this highlight, so it just doesn't work for me on my brow bone. So I've always disregarded this particular brow pencil, but I took it out. I think I was talking about the Pillow Talk collection. So I was like, oh, I should use Charlotte Tilbury products. And I was like, oh, let me pull this back out. I'll just use the pencil side. So I used the pencil side. And I was like, okay, that's nice. And it's just been kind of sitting here on my table. So every time I do my eyebrows, I'm like, oh, let me just use this. It's out already. And I've been using it. And now I'm kind of in love with the pencil. Funny how things happen. It is one of those longer, skinnier pencils. And it's a really great texture. I mean, I don't know that it's actually that much more different, but I've just been liking this. I think it's a little bit more pigmented than the Hourglass. The Hourglass one is very, very waxy. This one is not quite as waxy, and I've just been really, really enjoying it. The color is great. It's just like a very like cool toned, deep brown, and it is the color Supermodel. It's the darkest shade in her line. So I've been loving this eyebrow pencil. It's wonderful. Here's what the spoolie looks like. It's one of the kind of fluffier, longer ones. So that's nice considering I have like the world's longest eyebrow hairs. So I've been loving this eyebrow pencil. It's pretty much all I've been using all month. And then the Chanel Le Volume de Chanel mascara is the mascara I've been using all month. This is a sample size. I have decided to not even bother buying mascara because it takes me so long to get through them. And so I've just been grabbing sample sizes of this, and it's great. It's a full-size brush on this teeny tiny handle. And I've been using this probably for a couple months now, and there's still plenty of product in here. And I just really, really like this formula. It's on the waxier side. And I was actually talking to someone that works at Chanel, and I was asking about the waterproof one, and they were like, you know, this one is so waxy that they consider this water resistant, but it's not as difficult to remove as waterproof mascara. So he recommended I stick with this, and I've been really, really happy with it. So this has been my go-to mascara for the past month. All right, eyeshadows. So I think you guys know exactly what I'm going to be talking about, but the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Quad, I love. And again, I'm sorry, this is out of stock. She apparently is restocking all of this Pillow Talk early next year. I heard spring, but now maybe February. And apparently it's exclusive to Charlotte Tilbury, but I was just watching Mel Thompson, and she said that it's probably showing up at Nordstrom. We will see, but it is definitely coming back, and I hate that it's going to take so long to come back, but it will come back if you guys are interested at that point. But anyway, I've been loving this quad a lot. I have this color over here, which is the satin shade. I have that on the inner portion of my lid over here. And then I've been loving the Natasha Denona Camel palette. I have this color basically on the outer edge of my lid and up into my socket area. So I've been using these two palettes together. This palette ends up giving you a very like warm terracotta pink tinged kind of look. And then this one will give you obviously a very warm kind of tan look. So together, I feel like they kind of balance each other out. If you don't want something too pink, or if you don't want something like so brown, I think these are a nice kind of combo. So I've been kind of mixing and matching these two palettes together, and I really like it. Like I said, I'm using this one and this shade together. And sometimes what I'll do is use the satin shade in here and then the matte shade over here. I just think if you're trying to strike a balance between going too pink or going too brown, that using these together is kind of like a really nice combo. So anyway, they're great alone too, which is awesome. I think both of these palettes give you like a full eye look all by themselves, which is great. So that's another reason why I like these little guys. And these are two things that I took with me on my last trip, and I actually used both things. I end up packing a lot of stuff that I don't end up using, which is why I just mentioned that, but I did end up using both. And then of course, the Bronze Seduction palette by Pat McGrath. This baby is stunning. And I'm sure that you've heard almost every other YouTuber talk about this being one of their favorites, being their favorite Pat McGrath palette. I must concur. It is gorgeous. It is stunning. I do think that this is my favorite palette of hers. I think when I reviewed this palette, I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna have to spend a little bit more time with it. I really love Subliminal. That one is a great go-to palette, but this one has really been great too. Like I just love these brown mattes in here, and then this satin shade over here. So I can get a great everyday look with these, amp it up a little bit with these, and then you can go kind of like hog wild with these shades over here. They're just absolutely beautiful. And again, I have a full review on this if you want to check that out. But this red shade, oh my God, and it's so soft, is so amazing. I need to use this a little bit more. I need to use this shade like every day in my life. I'm just in love with it. And this matte purple shade, I don't have great luck with really deep matte aubergine eggplant kind of shades, but this one is wonderful. I don't know what she did to it, but it blends really, really nicely. It doesn't go on too patchy. I mean, you have to be careful. Like I will pat it on first and then start blending. I won't go in and just like start blending, because then I think it doesn't go on as evenly. I will, pat first, but I've had great experience with this one, which is odd for me. So I'm very, very happy. But all the shades in here are wonderful. They're really, really unique and formulated really well. you know, this palette is beautifully composed. I'm like tripping over my words. I'm like so in love with this. So I'm just gonna put this away now. I love it, and that was definitely one of my favorites for the month. And then lip products. So I purchased a lot of lip products this past month, and when I do that, I feel like I end up with a lot of products that I like, but they don't end up in my love category because I'm trying to like use all of them. So I have a couple here that are definite loves. So the Charlotte Tilbury Confession lipstick, I think I just mentioned this again, but this is like the most perfect nude to me. I was just on her site and I think it's sold out. I'm like, Charlotte, make more. Please make more. So this is what Confession looks like. And it really is just like the most perfect nude on my lips. Absolutely love it. It's in her Kissing formula, not her Matte Revolution formula, and I like the Kissing formula much more. I'm more of a cream lipstick fan versus a matte lipstick fan, so that works out for me. But this is just wonderful, and I hope she comes out with more. And it's been working beautifully with the Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude Lip Liner, which is what I have on my lips today. This is just like an old standby at this point. This is just a great lip liner. I think actually this is my Ride or Die lip liner. Yeah. But what I have on my lips today is the color Ava, which is one of the new ones to the Tom Ford Boys and Girls lip line. And this is kind of like a nude, like a metallic nude color. And it's just a beautiful beigey kind of concealer lip look. I think it's really beautiful. I fell in love with it when I saw them posting it on the Tom Ford Beauty Instagram feed, and they use this for the Spring Summer 19 show, and it just looks so great with like a dark smoky eye, and I love it. And you guys were so nice. I mentioned that I wanted to possibly try and recreate that look, and a bunch of you really want me to, so I think I'm going to try and do that sometime this week, and I'm going to use this shade. So that is Ava. That's a great one. I should mention, I do have a lip gloss on over this Ava. I'm not mentioning it in my favorites because this is the first time I'm using it, but it's the Bite Beauty Dirty Chai, like French press lip gloss. So far, so good. And then my last lip product is from Sicily. These are the new La Phyto Rouge lipsticks, and they come in this red velvet pouch. And this is what the case looks like. It has a zebra print. It's black and gold. I'm sorry, this like wins lipstick packaging of the year, I think. And this is magnetized. And so I just pulled out the color 33, which is Orange Sevilla. This is definitely the color I've been using the most. It's a very, very warm kind of brownish red color. I really love it. This to me is like the perfect fall color. It's like the lip color version of pumpkin spice. Just love it. And the formula is outstanding. It's comfortable on the lips. It's basically like a cream lipstick, but the finish of it is not quite as creamy. It's not exactly matte as you can see, but as you can see also, it's not quite as reflective as a creamy lipstick. You just don't see as much emollients, but it feels really, really creamy. I want to say it feels a little bit more creamy than the Charlotte Tilbury Kissing lipstick, but it doesn't feel quite as creamy as the Tom Ford lipsticks, which sometimes are, I mean, they're so comfortable. Like, who can deny how comfortable and beautiful the Tom Ford lipsticks are? But I don't find them to be long lasting at all because there are so many oils in them, and they do feel so amazing. So this falls like kind of in between all of that. It feels really, really great, but it doesn't just sort of slide off your lips. The pigmentation is awesome. I think I put this on once like right before lunch, and by the end of the day, now we're talking through lunch and dinner, I still had some pigment on my lips, and it didn't fade in this weird way. It didn't make my lips peel or do anything like funky. It didn't like end up looking patchy. I didn't just have it, you know, like on the outer ring of my lips. It just faded down really nicely, almost like I had a stain. So I'm a huge fan of these. I also have the colors 11 and 41. And they're great too. I love them. I just, for some reason, have been reaching for that number 33 color because it's so unique. But this is 11. So this is just a nice kind of beigey color. So there is 11. And then I also have number 41, which is a beautiful, beautiful red. It's on the warmer side. So it has a little bit of orange in it, and it's just gorgeous. So there is 41, 11, and that is 33. So you can see the difference there. You can see how, I guess, how orange the number 33 is next to the 41. So I think I'm going to be picking up more of these because I just love the formula. I love the packaging. It's a great lipstick. All right, that is it for this month's favorites. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Please let me know what some of your favorites have been this past month. I love hearing from you guys. You always have the best recommendations. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe down below if you haven't already. Don't forget to enter my giveaway. The information is down below in my description box. That is open until this Friday, so you have a couple more days to enter, and that's it. I will see you in my next video.